But one way I like to look at relative strength, and this is something I would encourage you to do on your own charts, if you're looking at a particular sector to see if it's strong or weak compared to the S&P 500, you can just put in that sector. So here we have SMH, and we'll divide that by the SPY and hit enter. And now this chart compares the strength of the two. And one thing that I haven't talked about much here, but that I was tracking, was just this downtrending resistance roughly right here. So you could see that the semiconductors continued to break down against the S&P 500. And then once we had our lows, this sector started picking up momentum, and percentage-wise has been outperforming and outpacing the S&P 500. So just a nice little comparison chart you can pull up there if you're looking for relative strength in a sector. Now, speaking of strength in markets, we'll just switch over to the dollar real quickly to see what that's doing. And it had a big break up today and closed close to the highs of the day off that inverse head and shoulders off the bottom. This is an area where I would anticipate resistance starting to come in. We do think the macro picture is still pointing to a further breakdown in the US dollar, so I would anticipate a correction starting somewhere around this range, or if the dollar is really strong, maybe going up to 103, somewhere around there at the most, and then eventually breaking down and continuing lower. If we go over to gold, that continued to break down and close near the lows of the day. And this is just showing you, remember last week when we had those couple uncertain days where it was risk off, money started piling back into gold, and now things are clearly risk on, and money is moving out of gold. Again, as we said on Friday, we anticipate continued consolidation here until gold figures out which way it wants to break. But if gold does break down from this range sooner than later, that would be a very strong sign for markets that is really risk on and people are piling into stocks heavily.